All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at this. The accumulator pattern over here. So, the pattern is one of the most common things we do when we go over a sequence, which is basically we do some kind of addition operation and we add up things. So, for instance, a common thing we might do is, given a list of numbers, find out the sum of all the things in the number. We'll see this in our lab on Tuesday, or specifically this this project over question and context, where we go over Kiva material. So, right, basically we have a bunch of loan information from Kiva, which I'll go into more detail about. But let's go ahead and let's take a look at this over here. Number of lenders total. So I'm going to copy this from here and just throw it into here. Num lenders total, which I'm just going to call, which I'm going to say num lenders. Okay. Now again, we could add this up pretty easily. I could pull up the handy dandy calculator. Just actually, there's the key on my keyboard for that. That's cool. And I could go 38 plus 18 plus 51. Oh wait, no, I made a typo. 38, because it's a different keyboard. 38 plus 18 plus 50. But that's actually pretty slow, and I'm prone to errors and typing stuff up. In fact, if you're doing things in Excel and entering things manually in Excel, that is totally a lot of human error that can happen. So human error bad. Humans should not be doing any repetitive work because you can make a computer do it. So let's make the computer do this. So let's figure out how many total number of lenders are represented in our data set. So let's go ahead and we'll create a variable called total. We have, this is what we're writing called an accumulator. Has three parts to it. We have this initializing a accumulator variable to its initial value. It's normally 0 if it's a sum, but we'll see that we can use it for strings or for doing multiplication as well, right? We kind of saw this when I went over the reach portion of the pie. So we initialize, we iterate over the thing we want to accumulate over, and then we update the accumulator variable each time. So this is what it's going to look like, and then I'm going to have some debug statements in there. So for num in num lenders, so let's go ahead and call it value in num lenders, total is equal to total plus value. Okay. And now let's go ahead and print our total. And if you do your addition correctly, right, it took me very, very little time to write that, right? Probably less time to write that for loop than it would have been for me to type it out and add it manually, even on something I was more comfortable with. But let's go ahead and go over what this is doing. It's saying, right, so this for loop says basically value is going to represent each of the numbers in this list once. So it's going to be 38. So 18 is going to get stored in value, then 18, then 51 is going to get stored in there, then 3 is going to get stored in there, then 21, then 1, then 10, then 8, then 42, then 1, right? Yes, we've already seen 1, but this is a different one. Yes, we've had one breakfast, but what about second breakfast? Okay, so 18, 6, 28, 5, 16, right? So they all get their turn getting stored in there. And yes, again, values that appear multiple times will get stored in there multiple times. So let's go ahead and print out. And so it reads, so each time we go through the loop, it's reading a different value, a different item in the list into value. And then what we do is that we look at what we already have stored in total. We go ahead and update value, and then we go ahead and we take that value, take total, add the value we just read to it, and store that value in total. Let's go ahead and write a print statement that will show that iterates through this. Current total is, let's go ahead and put in a comma total. Current is total. Let's go ahead. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of this. How to do this. Current total is dump. reading and comma value and then let's see, updating updating total to total plus value. So here we are, we're going to print out basically all the intermediate values. So we start out with our current total being 0. We read in 38, and so we updated total of 38. The current total is 38 now. We read in 18, the second item. So 38 plus 18, what's currently in total, becomes 56. So 56 is now in total. We read 51, the third item. We take 56 and add 51 and store that in sum, 107 in total. So total now becomes 107. Now again, remember, this equality statement is assignment, so that means whatever's we evaluate what's on the right first, okay, and then we assign it to what the variable is on the left. The right doesn't really care what it's getting stored into on the left. It doesn't really care at all, right? But this is the accumulator pattern. It's a very useful pattern, and I'm sure as many of you are thinking, why don't I write it as plus equals? Well, plus equals, for those of you who did not see it the first time or just don't know, plus equals is shorthand for this. So a short way to write this, because it's such a common thing we do, is to do plus equals. It's the same as saying total is equal to total plus value. This is essentially, read this as increment total, take what's in total and add value to it and store it back in. And we'll run it just to confirm that it works. I have to scroll down, right? Scroll down, I'll run it again. Boom, it works. Okay, so the accumulator pattern, really, really simple. So now let's go ahead and ask ourselves the next question. Okay, what is the average number of lenders? Right, we have all these lenders. These are each being like, I'm not sure from where, but these are different values. So what's the average number stored in this list? So how do we figure that out? Well, what is the average? Right? Pause here if you need to work that, if you need to remember. Right? The average is the sum divided by the number of items. Right? So what is the sum here? That's total. So how do we get the number of items? Pause for a second, figure it out on your own. Boo, 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 copyright strike. All right, and the answer is length. I mean, you could count it up, but honestly, again, human error. We're all human, we're all fallible, we all make mistakes, especially when we're tired. So total divided by number of lenders, that will get us 18.24 as the average value stored in this. So there's a lot of different uses for accumulators.